I learned about Marcus Garvey. He's a leader in Africa who fought for the right of Africans. Do you think that Africa should stick to tradition?
Yes. Do you think Africa will ever be as equal as Europe or as the Western world?
I don't think it's impossible.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of International Mic Check. My name is Judesho Jose Nyausha and my podcast is all about navigating passions and perspectives. And today I bring you one of the most amazing human beings on campus, and she's going to be talking about the African history, how she developed that passion for African history, African knowledge, and she decided to create a YouTube documentary where she's talking about the untapped history of Africa and a lot of things that are related to Africa, and she's going to tell us more about it. And her name is Simathe. Simathe, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you.
How are you feeling? How's everything going?
I'm feeling excited about the new year.
Okay.
Like being able to do new things.
Okay.
And like reach your new goals.
Okay. That's amazing. I would like you actually to give us the overview of your project that you're working on. I've been watching your documentaries, long and amazing documentaries talking about Africa, talking about African, long time icons, I should say. So can you give us the overview of that project?
Okay, so basically the project is about telling the stories of Africa that most people don't know about.
Okay.
Because I've realized that, and also based on research, I've realized that there are some specific African people that we know about, like people from the past.
Yeah.
Like if I tell you Martin Luther King, you know about him.
Who is that?
Martin Luther King.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, of course, I know Martin Luther King. Yeah.
So you know about him, but there are more people that were in Africa, but we don't know about them.
Yeah.
And like their history is very
important.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
important. So I wanted to let people know about those kind of history.
Nice.
So that's basically the idea of the documentary channel.
Okay. So can you maybe give us an overview about the African leaders in the past that you have talked about, and what is their history? Do you have any brief history about them?
Okay, so for example, last year, or the year before last year, I learned about Marcus Garvey.
Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a leader in Africa who fought for the right of Africans and also for the liberation of Africans in his country. And I think it's important to know about his history because we know about the history, like I was saying, we know about the history of Martin Luther King, which is a great story.
Yeah.
Like he was fighting for the right of black people in America. But there are also people in Africa who fought for the right of Africans that were in Africa. And it's important to know about them.
So what's the, maybe was he born in the 1890s? When was he born? Because now maybe he was fighting against slavery, like for example.
No, he was not fighting against slavery. He was fighting against the oppression that came after slavery.
Oh, after slavery.
Yes, colonization.
Then he was born in the 1900s then?
Yeah, the 1900s.
Okay. So how do you think that history is important to you and to us Africans or young people?
Okay, so I think his history is important in the way that the history shows how Africans formed small groups and large groups to fight for their rights. And I think the story teaches us about how, as African, if we want to achieve great things, we have to be together, we have to be united and fight for our rights and what we want Africa to be.
Okay, so when you go through those stories, right, I'm really interested in this. Do you think the way Africa used to unite back then is way different to now? Are you seeing some gaps?
I think there's a difference in the way that before, issues of the African of the diaspora, the one that were in the America, Europe, and all that. When issues happens to them, it was like their issues because the African in Africa didn't know about it.
Okay.
And also the issues of the African in Africa were also their issues. But right now, you see how the world like is digitalized. Yes. So, for example, when there was the issue of George Floyd,
I remember. Yeah.
During COVID, right? So it was in the US, but because the world was digitalized, like black people from all over the world were supporting like the issue. And also even like when there is an issue with the leaders, like the president, I don't want to cite any country, but when there is an issue with the president in African country, the African of the diaspora also supports like sharing the posts, sharing like letting people know about what is happening, stuff like that. So I think that the struggle of black people from the past compared to now is that we all know about it. It's not about the issue of Africans and the issues of, let's say, Afro-American.
Okay. So another question I have, that's amazing. So another question I have, right? Do you think in Africa right now, given the fact that the world is so digitalized, right? Do you think we kind of find ourselves uniting only when there's a problem, or we do unite even if there's no problem?
I feel like of course, when there will be an issue, like when you unite, like you want to like make noise about it.
Yeah.
But I've not seen like African uniting when like everything is peaceful. I've not seen that. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've not seen that.
That's why I asked that question, because maybe because I'm unaware, but I've never. I feel like we as Africans, we need to be more united when in peaceful times as well, not only in difficult times, because you'll find us uniting because there's war, maybe for example there's genocide somewhere or there's insurgency. That's when let's unite, let's support this country. But what about when things are okay, things are in peace? How do we unite? How do we create? How can we stay unified during those times? So that's why I was asking that question. Maybe you had information about, actually it happens on both. It's actually maybe more, Africa is more united when there's peace than when there's problems,
I've seen that we are more united when there's issues.
I see.
But
So
it's not to say that when there is peace, we don't see like group of Africans together, because there are a lot of like organization, like black organization together that like they keep working even if like there is not a big issue that people are talking about.
Amazing. So tell me, out of all the leaders that are from the past that you have studied, have you studied any past women leaders from the past? Yeah.
There's a story that I found that I think is very interesting. You know Rosa Parks?
No. Rosa Parks?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
There was that whole thing in, is it Montgomery? Yeah, Montgomery in the US where like in the bus ride, there was space for white people and black people. And then if the white people seat is filled, like some black people have to stand up for the white people seat.
That's racism.
It's racism. Yeah, it was called segregation.
Yeah, racial segregation.
Yeah, racial segregation.
Yeah.
So, I know that, most people know about her history, but like her history is basically like she was in the bus and they told her to like move, but she said no. And
she refused to move.
Yeah, and she was arrested. And a lot of people know her for that. But actually before her, there was another person who did the same thing, but she was a young girl, 16 years old, I think. And she didn't get like the kind of light that Rosa Parks got. And based on my research, I found out that at that time, like people were, even if they were fighting for black people's rights, there was still that kind of discrimination inside of black people, where they were prioritizing like people who have lighter skin color.
Okay, even though they're black.
Yes. So like Rosa Parks was like light skin, but Project Coven was not too light skin. So some people think that that's the reason why they didn't put her into light.
Yeah.
And also because she was young. So that's an interesting story that shows that even among black people there are some discrimination based on like your skin color.
So what more do you plan to discover through your documentaries?
I am like thinking about a part of the documentary channel where like I invite young people to talk about like different issues related to Africa, and that will enable us to get like the youth perspective on different issues, like letting their voice being heard, because there are a lot of people. There are a lot of things that young people have to say about like different issues in the world, and like giving them a platform to talk about it. It will be a good thing. Yes.
That's amazing. So, which African leader recently that you know would you match his leadership skills and his qualities as a leader to the past leaders that you have studied?
Actually, I think my president is a very good,
He's a very good
leader. But I don't know who to like associate him with.
Do you know a little bit about his values, like what he believes in for the country?
I will say something, and some people might not agree with me.
Okay.
So like, I think the quality I like about him is that as much as he listens to the voice of the people, because obviously like democracy and all that. Even if you are listening to everybody, there are some people that won't be happy. And if you want to care about all those people, you might end up not doing anything. So I think what I like about him is his ability to do what the mass want to do, and not wanting like to please people. I don't know if you get it.
He's a totalitarian, because a totalitarian does what's best for the mass, for the majority, what is going to benefit the majority, not few people. So that he's a totalitarian.
So he's a totalitarian, yeah. So like he does stuff, and like people will complain, but at the end of the day, a good outcome will come out of it. And like he does not care if people are criticizing him and saying bad things about him. Like
he doesn't care.
Yeah.
So do you think for how long has he been the president?
He has been like they do 4 years. So yes, he did 4 years. When did he start?
2019.
I think he started 2017.
Okay.
I think that's after I was done with like high school. And then he was saying that he wanted to only do like one. How do you say it? That period, the president they do.
I don't know what they call it. Is it? I'm not sure. So he wanted to lead like just once.
Yes, for one period. I don't clearly know the reason why he came again, but I think that it's a good thing that he came again, because like he did good things and people saw it.
Yeah.
So there's no point in like saying no for him to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of change since he became the president.
There is a lot of change since he became the president.
Nice.
Like positive change.
Nice. Okay. That's amazing. So do you think Africa will ever be as equal as Europe or as the Western world?
It is hard to tell, because like I have to look very far, but I don't think it's impossible.
Okay, but if you say you don't think it's impossible, okay.
Because all those countries, they came from somewhere. They were not just there and they were rich like this. And like I think for example, like if I want to connect it to a story, but like I've watched that video from a long time. So it's kind of like the story of Singapore. Have you?
Lee Kuan Yew?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because nobody, no group of men have got the will, have got the capacity to do more for this country.
You see, the whole of my adult life,
This is my country. This is my life. This is my people. You will trample over us, over our dead bodies.
That's what, his leadership was rigorous, and that's why he was able to change the country really fast.
So like you see what you said. So like Africa, right? I'm saying it's not impossible, but like it will come from doing like small change in many areas. Like we're saying, like people with empty mind. Like in Africa, it's largely like they do it a lot where they put people in position because like they know people.
They know people.
But like you should put people that can do the job, like that can show you results. So
that's okay.
That's
so it's not impossible, but it's far from possible.
It's about
no,
like
it is. I
mindset.
feel like it's possible. I mean, in everything, there's always hope and faith.
Yeah.
No matter how long it takes, I mean, we might get there. We are there. We should be an example.
Yeah.
For example, there's a lot of Africans that go study abroad and they never come back. You know, but then there are those who go and study abroad, and they just for financial stability, because you can't do anything in Africa if you don't have money. Because I see a lot of people criticizing others. Oh, you are going to America to get the green card, you get married there, and you stay there for a long time. But what if I have a plan to come back after 30 years, right? When I'm financially stable? Because trust me, coming to Africa without resources. Okay, we have enough resources in our country, in our continent. But if you are maybe passionate about community change, you know, you want to be an activist, you want to, you know, change the communities, you got to have something. And you have to build your profile such that now it's easy for you, for organizations to want to invest in you, to trust you. And so we are the change. We have to do great. If we don't do great, then we will suffer. So what would be your advice for people who are interested in African history?
Like learning about African histories is like important for like black people. I used to hear about like black identity. It's like about how you feel as an African, like being proud of being African. And by learning all those stories, you'll be proud of being African, and you realize that you are more than what like slavery and colonization want to tell you. And from there, it's from there that you get
That's okay.
a positive mindset for change. Like you are willing to make change. You know that you are capable. You know that your peers are capable, and you know that you have to work together to achieve big things. So yeah, that's the positive outcome about like learning about African history. And like learning about like the stories from your ancestors, your culture, and being proud of it.
Okay. So that's amazing. So it's more like as you read about the African history, you're discovering yourself as an African.
Yes.
That's really amazing. I believe that because there are some things about, you know, about Africa, maybe about being black, that I don't know, that I think I know, I don't know. But as you read, you discover. It's more like reading the Bible. Some things that you learned that you didn't think you knew. Oh, that's amazing. There's this question. I hope it doesn't run away in my mind. Yes. So when you start African history, right, are you focusing only on the struggles?
No.
So can you tell me one good thing that you learned about African history, or about someone maybe in the history of Africa that is amazing? Not just because they fought against oppression, they fought against slavery, blah blah blah. But what is it that's something nice that you have read about the African histories in the 90s or maybe in the 1800s?
So
Do you know Mansa Musa?
Yeah, I know that name. I'm still doing research of him. I'm
Okay.
going to make a video about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like my project at the beginning, when I used to talk about my project to people, I used to say that since I started learning history in high school, they were always telling me about slavery and colonization. How like there was transatlantic slavery, and like they took our people, and then they were exploiting our resources. And that for my project, I wanted to show a more positive image of Africa, like the positive histories. For example, like talking about African inventors and how they participated to like the world we see right now, like the different invention they did and that we are still using. Like traffic light, for example, it was made by an African. But like you don't know about it, and you're just going and you think that. And like apart from slavery, how like African they left Africa, but the outcome of them leaving Africa was a positive outcome. Like those stories, like it's important to talk about it so that people realize that African, they were not just slaves and like they were exploited.
That's amazing. So yeah, I think that's all I had to ask you today. I hope you enjoyed being with me here. Did you? I hope you did, for real.
I did enjoy it. It was interesting.
Okay, that's amazing. So that's all that we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed. Simathe was here talking about African history, why she's interested. She believes that there's some parts of African history that are untapped, and she believes that she has to go through them and learn and share it with people through her YouTube documentary. So if people want to watch your documentary, where should they go?
So like the documentary channel is called African Echoes.
Africa or African?
African.
Oh, African Echoes.
Yes.
So it's called African Echoes on YouTube. Okay, just go and watch. How many episodes are there?
I think there are like 9 or 10 videos there. Yeah.
That's amazing. She's been putting on the work. 10 episodes already. So please go there and watch if you're interested in learning about the African history, the African past leaders, and all that. Please check it out. So that's all that we have for you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is International Mic Check. It's all about navigating passion and perspectives, and always interested in people who want to share their opinion on anything that they want to share with us. We'll always appreciate if you could come and share with us. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe so that I can have that energy, that vim to keep on creating content for you guys. Thank you so much. My name is Judesho, and this is Simathe. Bye.